So I'm going to go ahead and start from freshly opening SolidWorks. You can also get here by clicking the little home icon here. And what we're going to do is we're going to start a new drawing. To do a technical drawing of a part, the part or assembly has to already exist. So this happens after you've created the part. Now, if you did this while you had a part open, it's going to show here in open documents because right away it wants you to put a part in. So I'm going to go ahead and click Browse. And I'm going to go ahead and go to My folder, My Design folder, and Blocks, and pick Block A. If you're following along with me, you can do that as well. This is going to give me a view. So I'm going to first off put this first view down in the lower left-hand corner because this should be my front view. And when I click it, it should place it there. And then if I move up, it should give me the top view, which it does. And I'm going to click to place that. If I move out to the right, I should get the right side, which I do get. And then I'm going to move up diagonally and click that to get the isometric view. Once I've got all four views, by the way, I'm going to stop briefly right here. If you don't get all four of these views, you can click projected view. Excuse me. Click your front view and then create those views again. Okay, so just in case you didn't get them all, you can create the views that way. Right now, you'll see I'm showing the origin on my drawings. So I'm going to go to View, Hide Show, and turn off origins so I don't see those. Next, I'm going to click on this view. So this is my isometric view. And typically, we make this half the scale of the rest of the views. So right now, under Scale, it's 1:1. So I'm going to say Use Custom Scale, and I'm going to change from 1:1 to 1:2. And it makes it half as big. Again, it's half the scale of the other views. So if these were 1:2, this becomes 1:4. If these were 1:4, this becomes 1:8, and so on and so forth. Okay? The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the style. Currently, it's at Hidden Lines Removed. I want you to change it to Shaded with Edges, so it looks like this. Okay? Truly, what this view is it's just a pictorial type view, and we put it in the upper right-hand corner. There will be no dimensions on it. We're not going to do anything else with it. We're going to leave it just like this. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my Annotation tab, and I'm going to click the note. If you get close to something, it might give you a leader line. I don't want a leader line. I'm just going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to type in that the material I'm going to type a colon and space, and go ahead and pick one of the materials that you had from your previous from your assignment. Okay, so in this case, I know one of the options was the 1060 alloy. You pick one of the ones you've done. You'll notice my text is all in caps. That is required. I'm going to highlight the word material and click bold. That is also required. So do not forget those steps. That's how it should look. I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to type mass, colon, space. Now, I don't know what your mass actually is, so I'm just going to use X's as placeholders. Out to 2 decimal places, and don't forget the GM for grams, and again, you will notice that that is capitalized. Highlight mass, and bold that. Okay, so it should look something like that. And that note, it does want to make copies of it, so once you're done, just click the green check mark. This note should be out of the way of any dimensioning you might do on this view and not right on top of there. Okay, but again, an actual material that is one of the ones you used on your assignment, the assignment quiz, and then the actual mass. So you might want the part open to go and look those up. Okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to use, under annotation, smart dimension. Now, when we used this before, we were just labeling stuff to make it the size it needed to be. In this case, we want to make sure to follow some dimensioning rules. For example, if I want to dimension from the top to the bottom here, okay, I am not going to do the same thing on this other view, because this is also the same height. You can see that because the views line up. You can see that because I could also literally overlap these dimensions. Okay, so I'm not going to do both of those. Okay, so one of the things I might do is I might put the overall height there, and then I might do this portion here and this portion here. You'll notice how I set those up so those did not overlap and did not cross, and I can read all my text. Now, I'm not going to also do this part, okay? The rule, we have a dimensioning rule called the rule of simple math. Okay, if I had know that the whole thing is 50, that's 15 and that's 20. So from here to there is 35. 50 minus 35 gives me 15. It's wrong if I dimension that. So don't dimension that. It also gives you a nice spot right here to show you the difference between those two in terms of how wide that stands out. Now, because the 10 millimeters won't really fit nicely inside, bring that to the outside so it doesn't overlap. I'm going to bring this one here, and you will notice that this says 50 millimeters. It's not that the numbers aren't sometimes duplicated. What it is I don't want to show the height twice. This is just showing the width of that area. I'm also going to go ahead and show the width here as well as the height here. Now, up until this point, you've noticed that I've kept all of my dimensions to the inside. Okay? This one has to go on the outside. There's really no other place for it. I could overlap the drawing, but that's less desirable. So I'm going to put that to the outside. I'm also going to do that with this dimension, because as you can see, this one and this one, while they look similar, you'll notice this is the height because it's in the front view, and this is the depth because it's the front to back. Now, I put quite a few of the dimensions that I needed on this front view. So I click on a dimension, delete it, and move it to the top view, which might be more desirable in some cases. Could have also moved this up here, or I could do the overall thing, but again, I don't need to because I can add 10 plus 50 plus 25 and know what my overall width is. Now, the only last measurement I can add will go either here or there, and that is the overall depth. Okay, you'll notice that I know they go in two different directions, but again, the depth is from the front to the back, and in this view, it's from the front to the back. So those are both the overall depth. So pick one or the other. Because this one already has two dimensions on it, I'm going to delete that one, because again, having them both there will cost you points. Okay, this drawing is now all dimensioned. Everything is either known or can be figured out very quickly from simple math. Okay, if the whole depth is 30 and the depth of just this part is 25, I know that that has to be 5 millimeters. So again, I'm not going to label it. The last part of this is coming down to the title block, which you'll notice everything is in all caps. So keep that going. Okay, I'm going to actually start at the right-hand side because this is the easiest. First off, your scale already matches, so you don't need to change it. Okay, if I click on one of my drawings and look at scale, it's 1 to 1, which means 1 millimeter equals 1 millimeter. That is correct. Okay, now your assignment may have you do a certain number of sheets. So under page, however many sheets you're supposed to do as part of the project, you should put as the second number sign. And whichever page it will be in the packet. Since this is the earliest block, I can assume this would be number 1. So for example, if I was making a 2-page packet, this would be page 1 of 2. That's the way that would read. Okay? Project name. In this case, we're going to call this block activities Okay, and the drawing name for this one would be block A. Make sure those match for the actual thing. Now the last one is name. So when you do name, please make sure that you do both first and last, as well as make sure all of this text is capitalized. You will receive points off if it's not all capitalized. I realize one of is lowercase, and that's the only thing that's allowed to be lowercase, as well as the units in the scale. So just leave those alone. Okay? Everything else is uppercase. Okay? This is a completed drawing that is ready to print.